Hi, I'm meteorologist Kara Judge. The active weather, well, it is definitely continuing. The West Coast, a warming trend on the way. For Alberta, active weather continues into Sunday. So as I mentioned, mainly sunny and dry weather for Vancouver. There is the good news, but you can see that jet stream. It is still really cutting across Alberta, and along that line, low pressure setting up, and that is making room for some instability, and that continues right into next week. You can see that trough really digging down. Cooler air even into Calgary into the teens by late next week. But here's how it rolls out as far as overnight, that high pressure, which is bringing the sunshine to Vancouver, the warm temperatures as well. I hope you had time to get out and enjoy that. While there's spotty, isolated thunderstorms, watching some cells, Edmonton, really south, Vancouver as well. Into Sunday, a bit of high pressure, but again, still watching along the foothills for really these cells that could activate maybe later on Sunday night. Quite similar as far as when it triggered on Saturday as well. And again, just keeping an eye. So Victoria 23 with sunshine, Kelowna 31 on Sunday. So active weather, well, that's the story in the east as far as southern Ontario goes. But let's take a look at Nova Scotia and how that has played out. Oh, love the look at this. Thank you so much for sharing your videos. So here's how it rolls out. As I mentioned, some active weather into the Maritimes. Now, Newfoundland, you do escape most of this moisture. It really is going to stay to the south of you. But again, when I say most of this moisture, it is a lot. Your local forecast details now. Hi, I'm Kara Judge. Thank you for choosing the Weather Network. Well, there is a warming trend happening in the west. That's the good news, not necessarily good news into Alberta. Still stays unsettled, but you can see this ridge is setting up. So Vancouver, yes, mainly sunny, dry weather right into Sunday. Now, what we are going to keep an eye on is that activity that you can see moving into Alberta. Could bring some isolated thunderstorms with it. It is this troublemaker right here that you see pretty much cutting right through the province. Edmonton, Calgary, Lethbridge, all the possibility of some active weather as we move into Sunday. So again, you can see Vancouver 26 and sunny on Sunday, but Kamloops, maybe watch for some instability at 31. And again, just keeping an eye for some unsettled weather through Alberta. Speaking of unsettled weather along the east coast, a lot of moisture, a lot of activity moving into the Maritimes. Newfoundland, you're going to be okay. As far as what's going to happen at the start of the week, those details are coming right now with the Long Ranger with Chris St. Clair. It has certainly been a wet Saturday along southern Ontario into the GTA. Still that chance of some thunderstorms as this system does track to the east. Heavy downpours with this system, high wind gusts as well. Now, the good news is that that has passed. And yes, a little less humid on Sunday. But when I say less humid, it, of course, relates to the last couple days, which felt more like the low 40s. So now it's going to feel more like the mid 30s in Toronto into Sunday afternoon. Bit of cloud cover, and that system, as I mentioned, it is tracking east. Still filled with a lot of moisture thanks to the Gulf of Mexico. Really still humid as well. So that's why you see those high numbers as far as rainfall accumulations go, the heavy downpours. Into Monday, Maritimes will dry out, but again, not before the system does settle in into Saturday and Sunday. So as far as thunderstorm risk goes, torrential downpours and wind gusts really isolated maybe to the south of Halifax, keeping an eye on that into Sunday afternoon. Again, that is where the moisture does move out. Newfoundland, it looks like you're okay as far as getting out of the risk area. Now, another risk area into Alberta, just watching even Grand Prairie, heading further south through Edmonton and possibly into Calgary. Windy, heavy downpours, and maybe even some hail with this system, a little cooler, so that could happen. We are watching that into Sunday as the area does expand. Firefighters battling the heat too. That's coming up after your local. That's maybe what you looked like if you happened to step out at the wrong time in southern Ontario on Saturday with all the downpours. Well, that wet weather, it moves out of southern Ontario, but it does have to go somewhere, and that is tracking into the Maritimes. We'll keep an eye on that for you and certainly let you know as far as accumulation. Now, thunderstorm risk, it is still there in southern Ontario. Watching that, but again, these do seem to be tracking east near the videos, if you can safely take those videos. So again, that moisture, as I mentioned, it is tracking into Quebec, into eastern Ontario. So a rainfall warning, flash flood watch as well, also in effect. Just really be aware of your surroundings if you are in these special weather statement areas. That moisture, well, it's not all of it as far as into next week. Tuesday, yes, more is on the way. Still a little, I'm not sure exactly, the models agreeing on where and how much, but as soon as we know, we'll give you more details. Now, into Sunday, there is that low pressure system, that warm front moving in, as I mentioned, into the Maritimes. It looks like Newfoundland, you do manage to stay out of this, but there is the chance south of Halifax for some isolated thunderstorm activity on Sunday as this system pushes east. Steady rain, could see upwards of 15 to 20 millimeters in some parts, certainly further to the south as this does make its way, and then eventually out by Monday. Now, into Edmonton, also still a risk of some pop-up thunderstorms along the foothills as activity. We're watching those cells. The good news for Vancouver is a ridge is building the west coast. A whole lot of sunshine on the way. Your local now.